इति व्यजानात् आनन्दाद्येव कल्विमानि भूतानि जायन्ते आनन्देन जातानि जीवन्ति आनन्देव प्रविशन्ति संविशन्ति इति तद्विज्ञाय. Everyone is born of Ananda, is sustained by Ananda, and ultimately they merge in their true nature, which is Ananda. It is for the Ananda's sake that we all exist. That is the knowledge to be gained, say the scriptures. What is this Ananda? Definitely it's not the pleasures of the body, or the excitements of the mind, pursuits of the intellect, feelings in the heart as emotions, but it is something beyond, Atita. And that experience alone can redeem one. When you go beyond the limitations of the body, the mind, the intellect, the emotions, what remains, that unsullied, pure state of existence, is true Ananda, which does not depend on anything external. It is self-sufficient. It is always without any support, without any external things required to sustain it. It sustains itself. It is born in the heart of those who keep their hearts extremely pure, and purity of heart is desirelessness. Lord Shiva is called Kamadahana, the one who has destroyed all the desires. And only in such a person's heart, who has no desires whatsoever, not even the desire to exist. He exists because it is the will of the divine. And therefore, such a person alone is entitled to that Ananda which is beyond all the gunas. All night you have done bhajans, and definitely some glimpse of that blissful state must have come your way. Do not compare it with any of your physical or mental or emotional pleasures of happiness that you have experienced. The scriptures say it, that if Manushyananda is so much, Brahmananda is so much more. But it is only a way to say it. It has no comparison whatsoever. The one who experiences it alone knows it. Brahma Veda Brahmaiva Bhavati. The one who knows Brahman alone becomes Brahman. That is the only way to know that divinity. That is what we all are. But how unfortunate that though we are that, though it is very much within our reach, we are looking for it elsewhere. When we look outside, we don't find it. When we look within, that is where it lies. And that is why all the sadhana is to turn our gaze within. You find Lord Shiva always with his half-closed eyes turned within. The third eye of Shiva is not the eye as a physical aperture on the forehead. It is the knowledge that sees within, not without. So he closes the two physical eyes and opens the third eye. It means he closes his interaction with the physical world and revels in the world within. All of us, it is there for everyone to experience and enjoy. Therefore, the best thing that you can do in your life is to put efforts to experience that. And that experience will come to those who are sincere. Not one day, one night, one weekend, one festival, but all days, all nights, all time, sada, sarvakaleshu, sarvatra. Those who put efforts understand, to experience, gods become happy with them. They want to give this experience to everyone who puts even a little effort on this path, to encourage them. And therefore, it is important that we put this effort. And when you have a guru with you to guide, should I go like this, should I go like that? A guru can tell you, go this way, this is the fastest, easiest, surest way. Then you simply walk on that path. You don't have to think twice. It is easier. As a guide, guru can take you faster to your destination. Therefore, following guru, what our Narasimhamurti was saying, Guru Vakyasya, always having faith in the word of the guru, is very, very important, because guru is beyond mother and father. They say even beyond God, because guru shows us to God. He is more important. The only effort, the only reason that I am here, or I exist here, or I do what I do, is only to point you all towards that divinity which is within you. I have no other job, I have no other work. I have no business to do with opening schools and hospitals or anything so called. That's none of my work. My only work is to help you understand that you are divine, experience that, and always revel in this. Atma Krida, Atmarati Kriyavan. Reveling in that divine experience of that awareness, oneness within, yet being active in the world outside. That is the nature of the knowers of Brahman. It is said so. Therefore, what should I say? I have said so much already. Know that the only purpose why you are here is to experience that oneness, awareness, consciousness, name it as you please. Shiva Tattva, Ananda Tattva, Atma Tattva, Brahma Tattva, whichever name you call it by. The only reason for you to be here is to experience that. Everything else is secondary, unnecessary, may not be even wanted. If everything else helps you to remain that way, to help you progress on that path, then I am happy to have all these other activities. The constant remembrance of your truth will help you realize the truth. Constant remembrance. I am that, I am that, I am that. I am Atma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. All these statements of the Upanishads are to be contemplated upon. Or as simple as Aham Brahma Sarvam Brahma. I am divine, everything else, everyone else is divine. That is the only reason that you are here. Everything else is waste of time. If everything else you do and you don't do this, it's simply a waste of time. We don't exist, we don't come into this world because of anything else, for anything else's sake. Only for this one sake we come, and we have to put effort. And when Guru's grace is there, when God's grace is there, what more do you want? It is so much faster, so much easier. So if you can't do it now and here, let me tell you, it will be very difficult to do it elsewhere, anywhere else, in any other time and place. This is the best opportunity that has come your way. Bahunam Janmanamante, after many, many births of strife and struggle, this has come your way. I say it often because it is the ultimate truth. Every one of us, over several births of tapas, austerities, how many hardships, how many tears we have shed, cried in agony, nights over nights, to be close to this, to be able to walk further on this path, to be led by the knower of Brahman. We have cried and cried. If only we remember even a bit of what we have done to come this far, we wouldn't waste even one moment here onwards. We wouldn't bother about anything else outside us. We would care nothing for anyone else. If only we remember the amount of effort, the pain that we have undertaken to come this far. But the rule of the game is such that you cannot remember that. And so you have to trust the Guru's word, trust the words of the Shastras, that we are born again and again in pursuit of our divinity Or many times we get distracted, we deviate, then a guru comes and says, no, this is the wrong road. This is the right road. Take this one, leave that. We believe, and then we start walking on the right path, we reach our destination. That's all is the whole essence of life. The only reason we are here is to experience this divinity and revel and enjoy in it. He created us only for that one sake. He wanted to see himself in another way, in another form. So as Ishvara, he used his Maya Shakti, the Prakriti, and created Jagat. We have become part of that Jagat. And it's like a mirror held to him to see his face, beautiful face, and rejoice, to admire his own self. That is why this mirror of Jagat has been kept in front of him. And we are his reflections in that Jagat. And he rejoices if the reflection is good. Imagine a distorted reflection. Imagine a reflection which does not completely, truly capture the essence of the beauty of the person who is looking himself in the mirror. How bad the person is going to feel. Likewise, we are pure reflections of his. This Jagat creates confusion and distorts our true essence, our true reflection. To overcome that is all the effort. So Shiva helps us because he is the destroyer of these demonic qualities, the Jagat aspect of the one who creates only knows how to destroy it. He creates the Jagat, so he also knows how to swallow it back. That is why they worship Shiva, the most benevolent one, the easiest teacher, quick to give marks, easy to please. That's why everybody is so fond of celebrating Shivaratri. He's very, very, very happy and easy going teacher. Very, very quickly he gives marks. Somewhat like me. I might be a little tougher than him though. It's very easy. So you can please him very easy. And look at his compassion. Yesterday somebody asked, I was telling, when the mythology tells us the story of the churning of the ocean, and then comes out this hala, poison. Everybody wants Amrutam. They lined up, the gods and the demons on either side. In fact, they fought. They had a battle there. And Vishnu had to take a Mohini avtaram and fool the demons and take the Amrutam away. But when poison came, no one is seen. And Shiva volunteered. Somebody has to have it because the fumes were so poisonous. It was already causing damage to the Prakriti. So Shiva said, let me have it because nobody is going to have it. Look at his sacrifice. Tyage naike amrutatva manashu. That is why he is immortal. Despite drinking poison, he is immortal because of the Tyaga. There's so many things we can say about Lord Shiva. One of those most prominent, most powerful, most pure manifestations of Brahman. But more than that, all I want to say is that you also are that. That is the good news. The bad news is that we don't know. That we have to put efforts to know. Tyage naike amrutatva manashu. Sacrifice and become immortal. Sacrifice and be divine. Why to hold on to these glass marbles and feel you are rich and powerful? Empty your hands, you will fill it up with a cup of Amrita. So allow yourself to surrender yourself to God. That is the right way of celebrating Shivaratri. When we transcend the mind, we basically surrender ourselves to the divinity. Mind is the barrier. It does not allow us to do though. But when we transcend it, there is no more restriction, no more inhibitions. We simply become one with that. If I break the wall down here, the outside space and inside space becomes one. There is no garden and there is no Premamrutam. Everything is one. Mind is the one which does not allow Jiva to realize that it is only Shiva. It thinks he is something outside. The moment we dissolve the mind, everything becomes one. Dissolution of mind is the end of all sadhana. Manolaya, Manonasha. That is the barrier between the Jiva and Shiva. You all know all these things. But you have to put sincere efforts, not just effort, sincere effort. I must experience that. I must. Another day has been wasted if I have not experienced that. I have simply eaten for nothing, slept for nothing, done everything for nothing. It's a waste. Since I have still not experienced that divinity which Swami Soma often talks about, scriptures talk about, Guru talks about. So think like that. This is one such night, one such occasion, but every occasion should be the effort to get closer to our own truth. Will you put that kind of effort throughout the year? Yes, that is very important. That is Guru Dakshina. Do what Guru says is Guru Dakshina, not come at the end of the course and offer some fruits or things like that. Doing this every day is Guru Dakshina. You must do that. And here, this Supreme Consciousness has established itself in this place to bring about this change in the world, to bring about this change within and without. It's not an ordinary event. It's not at all to be looked as one of the many things. It's very, very special. You don't realize it now, but the more you walk on this path, the faster you'll get to know what I'm saying. You'll understand what I'm saying. Chidananda Rupaha, Shivoham we say. It is the experience of every day. That is why I'm installing the Lord Shiva statue. Because this is Shiva Kshetra. And there is this energy of Shiva which permeates every rock, every mountain here, every tree, every grain of sand is permeated by this energy of Shiva. Hundreds and thousands have meditated here in these hills to realize the divinity, and all that is there in this place. Extremely vibrant and energetic. It's just that rusted iron cannot be attracted by the magnet. So people with a rusted mind cannot understand it. It doesn't mean that this place has any problem or this, what I say is not true. Not at all. Clean up your minds of selfishness, of desires. Atamatyo amruto bhavanti. That then and there the mortal becomes immortal when the desires are destroyed. And what desire should we have, you tell me? Standing in front of Kalpataru, what desires should we have? And what a Kalpataru, without even asking, anyway provides. So what is there to even stretch our hands in front of that divinity? Just be. Just be, that is all. Don't be E.G., just be E. Stay, realize, experience, enjoy. This is all I want. The more you enjoy that, the more I enjoy that. Because then the purpose is achieved. And I want everybody to be happy. That's all I want. I don't want anything else from you. I want your happiness. Your ananda is yours. You should experience it and be blissful. And be so infectious that your bliss should infect 10 others faster than the coronavirus. So that you are able to, your presence itself should inspire people. I also want to be like them. Everything else is secondary. Some boy asked, what is the significance of lingam? The lingam is just, because we are bound by physical parameters, we want to see that divinity in some symbol, some way. But we know divinity does not have hands, legs, eyes, nose, ears like us. Then how do we worship that? Kasmai Deva Havisha Videma. Yesterday they were telling about what kind of God should we worship. We don't know, we haven't seen. We believe he doesn't have hands, legs, eyes, nose, what it is. Hiranyagarbha Stamavat Tatagre. At the beginning was the Hiranyagarbha, it says. The womb, the golden womb from which the entire universe manifested. And that is why the earliest manifestation of the unmanifest divinity was Hiranyagarbha. Before that, we all have read, there was Brahman, there was Ishvara, there was Hiranyagarbha, and then there was Virata. So Hiranyagarbha was the first and foremost, in a way, a physical manifestation of the non-physical entity called divinity. So everybody, the closest you can go to worship the divinity in front of your eyes is a lingam, because that is the shape in which it emerged. It's the most perfect shape, the ellipsoid, where the forces are at perfect balance with each other. That's why all eggs, andajas, those who are born out of eggs, all eggs are perfect ellipsoids, because that is the perfect shape in which all forces are balanced. And therefore, this is how world has come into existence, Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyam also means golden. This was so effulgent that it looked golden. That's why they call it golden. Golden Hiranyagarbha, golden womb from which the entire Jagat has manifested. So it is that symbol, pratikopasana, our scriptures say. To worship with a symbol. When you see a national flag, you remember the country. Like that, when you see a lingam, you remember the unmanifest divinity which took the first manifestation as the Hiranyagarbha. So only to bring home that point and also to make your efforts sincere, I do all these kind of manifestations or these kind of things just to keep your attention on that higher truth and forget the lower ideas. Something to think about. That is why this upasana. If you see, it's an ellipsoid and it is how the universe began. This is Brahmanda and Pindanda, they say. We are all born out of this egg, golden egg, they say. That is why this manifestation, when we worship that, we are basically worshipping that ultimate divine principle. But since we have no other means of understanding how it was, what it was, therefore a symbol. Nothing beyond that. I bless that everyone who is here and all those who have participated in some way or the other in their own homes, in their own centers, ashrams, may all of them be blessed with this realization of the self. That is the highest, that is the best. Let all of them realize that they are divine, everything else is divine, and let them constantly live in that awareness. That is the blessings for Shivaratri. Now prasadam will be distributed, and after that we are going to meet again after some time.